Whoa! Uh, Hi. How is everyone? Uh, yeah, what's going on with dude? Okay, so usually, right, there's going to be some things that I might forget to check. But this this isn't one of them because I have to make sure that everything's white boy summer. I have to make sure that everything's in frame where it needs to be. So I've already looked at myself in the camera. I am really confused about this. Let's see what I could do though. What's this gonna do? Nothing. Okay, so where does the issue lie? Oh, would it be in here? Yep. Somehow my auto exposure got turned on. And even worse is that the camera software thought that's what I would have wanted. Okay, you look radiant. I forgot to go live. Jeez. All right, so there's my Sunday as usual, feeling very exposed. These are good puns. Good thing it's a music stream because I'm blind now. Oh man, this is a good start. It's kind of feeling low coming into this stream, and I've already got a smile on my face. We're good. We got Damien here, Pedo Death, which I think is a new one. I don't think I've seen that name around here. Not recently, anyways. Jerome, Art of Circle, Nobody Important. Watchman State, I think is another new one. Leon, Pear, Mark's here. Dimitro, No Man's an Island. Grace, dude, this is a packed start. What are we at? We're at 20 concurrent views already. Concurrent viewers. I think that is that's a new record for kicking the day off. Tedesco's here. I wonder if that only counts logged in. I wonder if that counts all viewers. I would wager so, but I don't know. Anyways, oh, we're up to 23. Dude, this is usually the numbers we get to around the halfway point, and we're kicking the day off like that. This is crazy. That last Catatonia song must have been very in the white. Good call. The flashbang edition. I had already planned to call this the short song edition because I think everything is in the 3 to 5 minute range. But yeah, I think flashbang edition is. Well, there's no bang though. It's not like my audio. Is my audio bad? Uh, I'm checking the audio. I don't want to make y'all go deaf on this first song too. But I do like a concept of flash or white or something in that realm. Some rare underrated stuff to request and share with the world. Yeah, 100%. The bang will be the music. I really hope everything's good. Next time I'll just have to scream. I don't think y'all want to hear my scream. It sounds terrible. Instantly after. As soon as the frame comes in, just like, ah! Scream as loud as I can. Alright. Like I said, we have a bunch of short songs up on our list today. I don't think anything goes over 5 minutes. Anything. Anything. 2 Saturdays ago, we checked out a symphony for our, typically would have an album review, but we checked out a full symphony instead. We've checked out electronic, we've had salsa on the channel, we've had hip hop, folk. I don't think there's anything we haven't done. We've even checked out some really odd avant-garde singer-songwriter stuff, so yeah, anything goes. Good evening and cheers to all the requesters. Yeah, we got some good requests today. We do have very versatile taste. That is true. If you want, oh, we haven't done polka though. You're right. I don't think I have a genre playlist for polka. We haven't done porno grind, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure that's just a gore grind subgenre. So I'm just gonna chuck it in there. It's close enough, right? Oh yeah, Vector and ICDD. We do need, I think, to get more ICDD. In fact, it's kind of interesting. We haven't had as much J-Rock, J-Metal requests in quite some time. I don't... Oh, actually, I was going to say, I don't think we've done 8-bit, but we did do a retro video game week. We checked out some Donkey Kong Country, and I think we had an old Genesis track on there too, because I remember the synthesizer sound, but I don't remember what game it came from. Yeah, we do have Sheena Ringo today. That's true. But she's not rock though. She's more of a pop. Is kind of where I've placed her. Although I guess she is part of Tokyo Incidents, which is J rock. So the only real full ICDD has a real studio is any real studio is Magari. Gotcha. Game Week was fun. I'm always down for doing more of that. I kind of wish I had more time because I would make a side channel, sort of like what Kia Jeebs did, just to explore video game music because I think there's a lot of cool stuff there that I miss out on. Oh yeah, we did check out that Dune track. That was good too. They really captured the vibe of Dune. Yeah, we got some good conversation in here this morning. I'm sure it'll slow down a little bit once the music kicks in, but Shade Core, I think you are the only person in here who has played Space Rage, but you are right. For those who don't know, a long time ago, we're talking like a decade ago, I wanted to be a game programmer and I made a couple of hobby games. None of them are all that great. Most of them I was learning a specific skill. Space Rage, I was learning how to make cutscenes, so that really takes prevalence over gameplay on it. But I also put in music, and the outro track that I put underneath the Patreon credits at the end of every song, I actually wrote for that game. So it does show up in every episode. Literal game designer or developer, very cool. We're not here to talk about music. Yeah, that's a super deep cut. Not many people know that about me. And like I said, most of those games were just not great. I have a lot of cool ideas. I don't think I have the skills to implement them, and unfortunately, I don't think they'll ever happen, which kind of sucks. Because there's stuff that they don't really exist out there, not in the way I have envisioned. Maybe one day I'll have enough money to buy a game development studio, start one up, and be a game director on it. Did you ever revisit Monica Rocher Big Bands? I think I listened to an album on my own, or maybe a couple tracks on my own, but I don't think we ever did another reaction. They have a new album out, or is it just a newest album? Oh, we have a game artist in here too. Very cool. Music's overrated. We come here for language. 2023? Okay. Let me see what it was called. Witchy Activities and the Maple Death. No. We checked out 8 Prinsessinnen, I think was the one song. And I think that was one of the albums I meant to listen to last year, and I just ran out of time. There were probably a good 50 albums I wanted to check out that got released last year that I never got around to. Looking forward to another week of non-English vocals. Let me write that down. I mean, I know it's in the community spreadsheet because we have checked it out before, but it's one that I haven't thought about in a long time. I'll throw that in a poll before the end of the year, I guess. We'll see how it does. All right, let's get this rolling. I know I came in a little bit late, but we're 15 after the hour already. Let's jump into our first track here. We got Black Dress's last love song on this little planet. All right. Oh, comments. Yeah, this one comes from Inky from Black Dress's final breakup album. All right, let's refresh the page because Spotify doesn't like being open that long. Let's dive in, see what's going on. Oh, this is the Ada Rook album, right? Interesting harmony in the backgrounds. For the live stream, we don't do themes on the live stream. I just kind of figure out if there's any general theme afterwards and throw that on the thumbnail. It's interesting the contrast between the large parts of this and just how small this feels. It's definitely very noisy, and I think that's my biggest gripe with it. It has a very strong electro pop punk vibe to it. I like that. I like the general melody in this. Kind of has an emo flair to it. All that really works for me. And I like the quieter sections, I think, because of that, where it focuses on the positive, consonant harmony and the melodies alongside it. But then we get to the noisy big sections, and this just introduces a lot of dissonance and clashing ideas and generally noise to it. The layers, I think, are cool. There's plenty of them, lots of concepts going on in the music, and then both of the vocals on top of that. But what's going on in the music, what's going on in the layers is just clashing. Nothing wants to work together. Pear had mentioned the bass lines. I thought the bass sounded cool. I was not a big fan of the pitches picked though. Lots of dissonant tones there. Very abrasive. Yeah, that's a good word for it. This is their darkest thematically, but by far most approachable and poppiest musically. And it is Very short though. I thought that was interesting. It allowed a little bit of contrast between the lows and the highs, and that's really about it. We don't dig into any more than that. Now this did ring a bell for me. So I went and looked in my list and I listened to this, but I gave it a mid. I only rate my stuff personally. Either I liked it, I didn't like it, or it was okay. And that's what I gave this one. It was okay. A note that I wrote is some songs are fantastic while others had me waiting for the next track. I also said that I felt there's a lot of fluff on the album, but I didn't even write down a favorite song. So I don't know if anything really stood out to me when I listened to it. But if it was like this, I think it probably is a bit more of the a meh out of 10. I mean, kind of, yeah. I think a lot of it is just that there are parts I really like and they're mixed with parts I don't like. And if the rest of the album was like that, it explains why I was less positive and less enthusiastic about it when I checked it out. And this came out in May of this year. Dude, that's wild. I can't remember what I listened to 6 months ago. I mean, I guess some of that's just the sheer amount of music I listened to, but I don't know, man. Like I said, I just something about this. I think it was when I realized it was Ada Rook's side project. That's when it clicked. I was like, wait, I might have listened to this. But nothing in the music was familiar to me at all. Felt like the vocals lacked cohesion, which holds it back more than anything else. The vocals are... I think I'm warmer to them than most of y'all, but that's because they are very emo, they're very whiny, and having a bit of a thinner, whinier vocal set on top of a large, booming instrumental portion is, I mean, it's just kind of emo 101 right there, so it sounds fine to me. But yeah, I don't think it was the best combination of sounds. The peculiar vocals are my favorite thing about the band, though I like them best on their more noisy tracks than this. See, actually, I haven't heard the other person. Who is it? Oh, Debbie McCallion. I don't think I've heard her before, but I have heard Ada Rook's solo stuff, and I think I like it more than Black Dresses. But that's sort of a vague feeling. Again, I can't think of any specific Ada Rook track either, so... Whiny. Yep, that's the word for it. Black Squares. Yeah, I don't think I've heard Black Squares. I'm not a whiner, I just love the sound of... I do like the sound of whining, though. It works really well. Girl Rituals? I haven't heard that either. I know Mindless Self-Indulgence, and that must have been what you or someone mentioned earlier when they said this was MSI adjacent. I didn't know what that was. Yeah, MSI vibes. You did say that. I was thinking of something totally different. But now I know that's Mindless Self-Indulgence. I think I've listened to some of them, but again, another band I can't really place a sound to. A soft and light version of Knocked Loose. I could see that. Going for more of an atonal sound. Bit noisier, yeah. Much closer to punk root, so it's supposed to be abrasive. Yeah. I think it's interesting. People kind of finding this all over the place. 80s, 90s, pop, punk. I still feel it's very emo. Alright. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, an interesting way to start the day. I'll say that. Alright. Next up we have some... Oh yeah. Well, I do this every time. I should write a script to run my script so that I don't forget it. I don't even know where this is. And there we go. Alright, now we can update this. There we go. Scriptception. Alright. You prefer this unscripted? Dude, if I ever ran this unscripted, software-wise, it would be a mess. But I know what you mean there. The off-the-cuff commentary. The little double entendre of the word script. This one comes from Vale. Brutal, heavy, awesome. That's a description right there that's not always something I'm looking forward to. But I like the awesome part. Random sidebar on the Vector React. You said someone else said thrash came out of speed metal, not being fast enough, but that's not true. Really? Because I think, oh, they both came out of punk equally, like two tangents. Yeah, we don't want the stream to go off. So we go off script all the time. All you guys got to do is like say one specific word, and I'm like 20 minutes into some weird topic about language or genre. That's another good one. Thrash grew out of hardcore punk, with Metallica being the large band to evolve it to the public, with Metallica debut billed as hardcore punk before thrash. Interesting. Which is, I think, even more interesting because that would be Kill 'Em All, right? And I actually kind of like Kill 'Em All, but I don't like hardcore punk. So, would Kill 'Em All be one of the first metalcore, hardcore, and thrash metal? Huh? I don't know if that's accurate. I'm just kind of saying words at this point. But I do think that'd be pretty interesting. Speed came more out of Motorhead, but I think both have punk roots. All right. Yeah, thanks. That clarification is helpful. Is a double entendre a real cocktail? Punk evolved out of polka? That's interesting. Psych rock and garage rock from the 60s was a genesis, and it dominoed from there. See, now you all got me wanting to go research this myself and research it, i.e. go watch some YouTube video about somebody who's done the work for me already. Or go read an article about it, which I actually found really interesting. Somebody had linked me a video about the history of emo, and it was like 50 minutes long, and it went through like, I don't know, like everything from the original coming out of punk and what I think was called emotional punk at the time, and all the way up to pop emo with stuff like, My Chemical Romance and stuff. It was a massive video, covered so much. It was wonderful. It also had a little bit of each of the eras and popular bands' music, so I could hear the evolution too. It was really cool. The joke went over my head. I didn't know if it was a joke or not. That's why I asked. Tried to play it safe, just in case it wasn't a joke. Did a lengthy early death thrash metal list on Rate Your Music, so I learned a lot. Those lists are very cool, though. I've seen a few of them. They're very helpful for sort of viewing, it helps if you know the band's sound, but viewing an evolution of a sound. My own hot take on emo: it was punk rock that punk rockers rejected because it was too sensitive. That's pretty much what the video I watched said, too. So it kind of went its own way through rejection, not because of anything. Yeah, it evolved on its own since then. Yeah. Kind of got kicked out of the scene, so they made their own scene. Alright, what was this again? Oh yeah, brutal, heavy, and awesome. Let's dive into this, see what's going on with GREBER? Fabricated Purpose. No, the conversation's good, man. If you got more to say, go for it. the feedback underneath it in those quiet sections. Dude. We do segue a lot, that's for sure. That riff is wild. Okay, bringing back something a little groovier. I do like these vocals a lot more than the growls. Dang, they used feedback at the beginning, and now they've used feedback for two different transitions. I really like it. All right. Yeah, not my cup of tea, but I gotta give them credit though. It is heavy. And what's really interesting is they use a lot of basically, it feels like grace notes. It's a 16th note into the accented note. So it's like da-dun, da-dun, da-dun. And the way that they do this, it almost feels like they're constantly in a state of rushing and being behind. Like they missed the first note and then they hold the other one out so long that it feels like the song slows down, and they actually picked up ahead of it. And it kind of feels like it's being played wrong. Nothing about it feels groovy. Nothing about it feels fluid in any sense. It's very disruptive. And they lean into this idea constantly. I find that to be really interesting, to create a song that feels like you're forcing it into existence when it doesn't want to be. Which I guess kind of lines up with the idea of fabricated purpose. I wasn't intending to bridge those two, but I just looked at the title, and yeah, that kind of works. But there's so much of the first half of this song, it just feels like the song would really like to fall apart and stop being, and the guitarist and drummer is just like, nah, you got to keep doing this. And so I think that's an interesting perspective. The vocal shift in the middle was really well done. Particularly, I think, just because I like the new vocals that much. The drum work is very aggressive on the nose. There's nothing fancy about it. It's very much just sitting in the pocket and hitting things hard. The first one had more high tonal noise sound, but the second one was like a low noise. Oh yeah, comparing it to that first track. Both of them definitely noisy, that's for sure. We've kicked off today with Sonic dissonance. Uh, it's definitely making my comment on the Discord server seem a bit snarky. What did I put in there? I don't remember. It was something along the lines of everyone join the live stream and we're going to check out what people today call sonic art. And we've had two songs that have been very noisy that have not really been up my alley. The irony of that. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I can say about the song, other than the fact that it also has a lot of feedback in it. I thought it was kind of clever the first time. The first feedback transition was kind of neat, but the feedback into the outro felt just a bit noisy for the purpose of noise to me. It kind of lost its luster at that point. But still interesting to see a song use feedback so frequently in it. Alright. Next up, we got some planning for burial. Something tells me this is also going to be heavy. No context comes from Cam. Let's dive into it. Comes off of a 2017 album called Below the House. That is a big tone right there. That's a bass too, isn't it? You don't hear that much fuzz on a bass too often. It's very distorted. Even in metal, the bass tends to be a bit clearer. I wouldn't say this is necessarily what I would expect from a band called Planning for Burial, but it also feels right. Some things have got to separate work from leisure. Yep. Ooh, that's a good theme. Wrongly named bands. Ooh. Ooh. Big. But distant. Almost muffled. It's lacking presence. Not quite like being outside of a club, but somewhere in that middle realm. Has a very gothic feel to it though. See, that's what I would think. Brutal death metal was on my radar. Doom might have been. Good catch on that. I think the Cranberries thing mostly comes from the guitar tone, but yeah, the rigidity of the chord underneath. Yeah, I don't know what I would call this. It's like I don't know how old you are, but I feel old some days. Doomgaze? Oh, okay, you're not that much older than me then. It was a reaction. I thought I heard rain. I think it was a reaction this week where I saw an album was like from 2016. I was like, oh, it was just a little bit ago, and it dawned on me that that's like a decade ago now, almost just shy, but still, like, jeez, where does time go? The 2000s still feel like yesterday. This album is a great winter listen. I think that's interesting because the album art is wintry on this, which I think fits the vibe very well. But at the same time, the track we listened to is called Warmth of You. I don't think it was a very warm song, although that might also be the point of it, too. Creating this cold atmosphere and having maybe the lyrics be about the warmth of being near or with somebody. Hey, Johnny made it. Wrongly named band is very subjective. I agree. Some would think yes would be a big no. That's good. Vice City is further from today than it was from its inspiration. Dude, I don't need factoids like that. Bro, that makes me old. One of my friends told me this week, we were chatting about, I think we were chatting about Half-Life 2 having its 20th anniversary. And he said, I don't know if you realize this, but your kid is the same age as when we met. My current friend group that I've been with since middle school. And I was like, geez, that made me feel old too. I've had so many reminders of time just this month. And this month's almost over too. Where'd 2024 go? Seriously, like, I feel like I have this conversation every day because somebody reminds me that we're almost in 2025 somehow. That comes up in my mind. It blows my mind. I don't know if this is just internet age condensing time rapidly or if it has to do with just adulthood in general. As a kid, years felt like forever, and as an adult, a year goes by in a flash. I don't know, man. Time is violence. I like that. I'm going to write that down. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that phrase. I'll attribute it to you no matter what I do with it. But I like that line. Album art and music videos can definitely influence the subjective experience. 100%. And there's even been some songs that I've thought music videos or even live performances, if there's a light show or something that goes with it, a different mood of it, 100% might improve my reception to it. Each year's a smaller percentage of your life, so it's natural that each feels faster. That's true too. Dude, there's no way the server's been running for 5 years. Are you kidding me? No, because the channel itself is only 5 years old. I started this. Oh yeah, maybe actually. Dang. I thought I started the server much later, but I think it was pretty early in the channel's life because I started Patreon only like 5 or 6 months in too. And I started the Discord around that same time. Time should be illegal. Oh man. Yeah, dude, Ludens. That was still 2019, wasn't it? Which means it was in my first 6 weeks there. I still kind of look back and cringe at some of my old stuff. Like my very first reaction was why can't I remember her name? She's a pop Selena Gomez. And I was very harsh on it. I think more so than I would be today. I'd still have some criticism for the song overall, but I don't think it would dominate the conversation. There's still some cool things in it. I just look back at it, a little bit of cringe, but just knowing I've had growth too, as a music critic, but even just as a music enjoyer. I looked uncomfortable during Ludens. That's interesting. Because I like Ludens had some heavy parts to it, but I knew of Periphery by that time. I still heard some metal. It wasn't what I primarily listened to, but I wouldn't think it would have made me uncomfortable. Oh, just in general. Dude, I hated being in front of a camera. I wasn't used to it. No, not at all. No, you put me on stage in front of thousands of people with a trumpet, I'll be comfortable there. You put a camera in front of me and expect me to talk to nothing? That feels weird. Selena Gomez has also had growth. I haven't listened to anything since that song, so I don't know. Maybe I'll go check out something new of hers. This channel turns 5 years old exactly in 2 days, I think. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe it was, I can't remember if it's the 9th or the 19th that I put the first video out. Autumn is the time for nostalgia. Oh, also, something y'all might not know, because the videos have been purged and deleted because they were honestly not great, was that I just did a scattershot attempt at reactions, and I think alongside the Selena Gomez reaction was also a reaction to the Diablo 4 trailer that had just come out, the Witcher Season 1 trailer that had come out, and I think something else. And I just wanted to see what was going to stick. And music is what ended up working. So that's what I stuck with, which ultimately makes sense. I can't imagine me have been doing this for anything else. Could you imagine me as a film reactor, watching the MCU or something like everyone else does? That'd be such a bizarre timeline. Ah, jeez. But yeah, to be completely honest, I was getting a bit desperate trying to make online work. You'd be playing League and reacting to League trailers and music only. You joke, but I think I was playing League at the time. We all know there's a time. Yes, there is, 100%. I love food. Before this channel, I actually did video game related videos. They were tutorials. I had 4 years worth of that. All scripted stuff with video editing. I kind of miss video editing. It's actually what led to a lot of those weird live stream. Whenever the live stream got blocked and I put like animations behind myself, a lot of that came from the skills I developed prior to this channel. So it became language discussing YouTuber. uh, yeah, I've had a long road. I was also a paid freelance journalist, although I wasn't really doing any journalism. I was just writing opinion pieces. I did a lot of stuff before landing on this, and this is the first thing that I think really panned out in any sort of large way that I could depend on it, which I'm beyond thankful for because honestly, it's the funnest job I've ever had. So I'm really glad that I get to do this every day. It is awesome. And now all you do is argue about genres. Look, I'm still opinionated. I just get to say it into a camera now instead of type it out. But, oh yeah, I forgot to talk about this track, Planning for Burial. We got off topic about time. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I like this one too. That's what yeah, the music reactions, right? Who would have thought? Uh, I did enjoy it though. It has a nice atmosphere to it. I like the heaviness with the levity. I thought that was very cool. It is one single idea, but I think only lasting 3 minutes works really well for it. I did think it was interesting once the guitar kicked in though, and it is as distant and as muffled as it is. I'm not sure what that's supposed to represent, but maybe with some lyrics that would make a bit more sense to me. But aside from that, a lot of it is levity. We have a very light, whispery vocal style in here. There's not a lot of power behind it. This person feels defeated or meek or small in some way. And I like how they get a little bit more energy once the guitar kicks in. Maybe it is this other person giving them confidence of some sort. I think this is the first time I've never heard any of the artists beforehand. None of them? I don't remember what we have in store for today, but none seems, especially for you, you seem to have a pretty good knowledge of a lot of bands. Well, actually for me too. Black Dresses I knew beforehand, but I think Sheena Ringo and Injury Reserve are the only people we've actually had on the channel before. Kind of like Spitting feels familiar, but I don't know. Not even recognize any names. This must be exciting. Oh, it is. That's what you said. It's exciting. I was going to say, this must be an exciting stream for you. As if you literally didn't just say that. But I think I'm going to pull this one down. I like their combination of sounds. It's big but small. It's heavy but light. It's ethereal but physical. If the whole album's like that, I don't know if it'll wear me out a little bit. How long is it anyways? 40 minutes over 9 songs. Oh, they have a lot of short tracks and then a 12-minuter. Well, technically 16, 17, 18, because it's a two-parter. Yeah, I'll check that out. I'm still kind of curious what the genre is. I think someone said doomgaze. It does feel kind of doomy. I guess it feels kind of gazy too. It doesn't feel like doom metal or shoegaze though. Maybe specifically what's in the middle with no overlap from what the genres typically do. Alright. You were just joking, but I think it's accurate. It does feel gothy to me though, that's for sure. I think a lot of that's the atmosphere, more so than the composition though. So, like I said, I'm kind of curious what its technical definition is, but I do think doomgaze is a good one for it, even if it was a joke. Alright, we got some Visions of Atlantis here with the song Tonight I'm Alive. This one comes from Evil. Fun, nice, dancey, and pirate themed. You know, I'm down for all those. That's a lot better than brutal and angsty or whatever that second description was. Let's dive into this and see what Visions of Atlantis is bringing to the table today. Dang, they got a CGI boat and everything. Oh, it's Napalm Records. They got money. Hey Ryan, welcome back. Definitely having a good weekend. The strings, the woodwinds. Oh, boom, ga boom, ga boom, ga boom, ga. Yeah. It has a Latin rhythm behind it, so I could see that. The Shakira comments I'm in. Interesting for me, it hasn't really hit that cheesy part that folk metal likes to go into. Magenta? Is that a prog band? I don't think I am. No, this is not folk. But folk is definitely what I think of first when I think of cheese, is folk metal. That's what it is, isn't it? It's pop metal. I don't know who Rob Reed is either, but I mean, cool if you worked with him though. Yeah. Cool way of bringing back parts of the lead melody in that guitar solo, but kicking it up to the metallic notch. Both of them have great voices, though. That's something you don't see too often. You got vocal runs from both of the vocalists. I like that. Oh, he's behind Magenta. Very cool. For some reason, my mind went to producer. So yeah, this actually reminds me more of like Nightwish. It's a very palatable symphonic metal. There was definitely some faster bass kicks. Could just be really fast single footwork though. That's possible. Yeah, I dug that though. I mean, it's right up my alley. It's fun, as was described, but with enough technicality to it. It isn't just metal, though I will say the metal part was a bit on the more simplistic side. We did have that guitar solo, which I think brought things up a little bit. The drum work was kind of nice at the end. We got a little bit of amplification there, but of course a lot of it is presented to support the vocals. They take up a majority of the song spotlight. We have two vocalists, they're alternating parts, and that dominates the sound. And they're both really good too. Like I mentioned at the end, you don't usually hear vocal runs like that from dual vocal sets like this. Usually you'll have your female cleans and then maybe a male vocalist who can hold a tune but doesn't have enough of the chops to do flourishes, or maybe they'll do growls and stuff like that. But to hear two really good clean vocalists like this with as dexterous vocal lines from both of them, I thought that was really cool, and I thought it worked well. Do I make music? I do. If you go to my homepage, to this channel's homepage, I think it's linked at the bottom. Yep. Underneath all of the playlist shelves, it says check out my music and has my music channel there. I gotta remember that for the future. Like, I wasn't even sure if I put it there. It was something I've wanted to do, but it was there. Ah, very cool. The other thing that stands out on this is, of course, the strings. I love them. There are some parts where they just kind of give that orchestral flourish, but there's just as many parts, I think, where they add to the song and bring in unique ideas outside of a metal sound. We also have the flutes in a lot of those places, providing levity and doing things that flutes tend to do, little trills and stuff. So it's definitely not metal with some strings and flutes on it. Those instruments are used well to expand the sound in non-metallic directions, and that's definitely what I like out of my symphonic metal. So palatable, fun, listenable, and a bit expansive. Yeah, I can get behind that. I'll have to check out more of them. They had a live set at Wacken with a small orchestra on stage. Very cool. I like to see that. I know it's not always possible to tour with an orchestra, even a small one, but I'm glad to see that they did a show with it, because I think personally it adds to it. You can only get so far with pre-recorded strings. It's just something about hearing them live. It's extra amount of energy, of electricity. Plus it just looks cool. And sometimes aesthetics, they take the cake with live shows. I'm not even going to try to dance around that. We just got done talking about how sometimes seeing something with the music will change your reception of it. Yeah, 100%. Having an orchestra there, it might even sound the same at times, but because they're there, it elevates the music. Wild mind tricks that go on. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I'd never heard of them before, and I think they're one of, at least just based off this song, one of my more, I don't want to say favorite, it's one of the symphonic metal bands that I've kind of enjoyed a bit more. Also, the use of the expanded percussion in here and the rhythmic elements to give a very piratey theme to it, the group vocals that are placed around. They did a great job of sticking to the theme musically, and I wouldn't be surprised if those elements don't show up in other songs. So, I mean, to me that just shows a little bit of more attention to detail than some bands put into how they write music, what kind of instruments they bring to specific songs and stuff like that. Alright, next up we have Kind of Like Spitting, Birds of a Feather. Context for this comes from Greed, one of their more popular songs, band from Oregon that dips into the Midwest emo genre with a lot of folky influences. Alright, that's interesting. Midwest emo folk. Oh, cool, thank you. It is hidden. I think it has like 200 subscribers. YouTube's never going to push it. Especially since a lot of what's there is a bit more experimental. And honestly, there's a lot of... I even have a whole playlist full of experimental things as I've gotten more into electronic stuff and working with audio workspaces rather than writing for acoustic instruments, which is what I did primarily growing up. So, oh nice, 614 subs, congrats. So it's been a bit of a journey learning how to produce music and work with electronic instruments and stuff like that. So I've a lot of experimental ideas there that are more about me trying new things than making what I would consider, you know, my music where I'm most at home with. So yeah, the algorithm's just, it's never going to pick it up. Alright, let's see what Kind of Like Spitting are bringing to this with some Midwest emo folk. Midwest emo? Never heard of them. Nah, there's definitely no emo fans in this community. Oh, I'm glad you got to jump back in on your track though. That was for Greed, by the way. I was trying to bring the album art up, but Spotify don't want to cooperate. So much time. You can waste on me. I like those light cymbal rolls. I might have referenced it a time. Yeah, just a couple times. Okay, Spotify. I'm not touching that button though. I'm just hoping this works. Ooh, that bends on the guitar. Sometimes I believe in God. I think the guitar it's fine. You're right, it's slightly out of tune, but they also do a lot of whammy to bring the pitch down. Really large gaps too that create tons of tension. You know what's interesting though is that everything seems to work. Nothing is at a point where it's disrupting my enjoyment of the song. Whammy! It's not perfect, but it's all close enough, and I think that's interesting. Even the vocals are a bit pitchy at times.
I can't blame you.
I like that that introspection, that isolation there at the end. It's interesting too. Usually if everything's just a hair bit out of tune, it's going to be a disaster. It's a bunch of tiny cracks, tiny fractures, completely disrupting the stability of something. They compound on each other is what I'm saying. But in this case, I don't think I've really seen this before, that all the imperfections come together to create something that feels whole. Because we've listened to indie rock, we've listened to indie folk, we've listened to emo music that don't focus as much on pitch perfect tuning, and it always stands out to me. I'm just not a big fan of dissonance. I really like things to be in tune. And for this track, though, it works. But in many of the other instances that we've heard something like this, I feel it's always distracting. It's something I have to look past. And here, I don't know. It kind of works. Imperfections do make an album alive, or I'd like to rectify that and say can make an album alive. I think it works better for some genres than others. Rock definitely works well with a bit of imperfection, metal too, but I don't think it's something across the board. I think you can have music that feels electric and alive and full and human and still be perfect or erring towards perfection. The way it's EQ'd also makes it more pitchy. Yeah, I can see that. I don't think I would have picked that up on my own, but I can see where you're coming from. Oh, bringing Death Cab back into the conversation. It's the second time they've popped up today. That's pretty cool, though. Generally, I like this sound, though. Like I said, it all kind of works together for me. I like the sort of heavy lyrical delivery. I think part of that comes from the lack of perfect tonation to it, but part of it, I think, also comes from a dreariness of delivery. It's not really fast. It kind of feels behind the beat a little bit. It feels slow to get to syllables. And that mixed with the violin, which has a lot of bends to it. We have some bends in the guitar. Everything feels heavy. The song feels drippy in places. And I think that works really well. More obvious on certain... Oh, yeah. And that might be part of it, too. Is that the tonality of it really only shows up in a couple of places on certain frequencies where it sounds really far out of tune, and other times it sounds generally okay. Yeah, I didn't pick up on any lyrics other than the few at the end, but the way he delivers them, I think, perfectly fits the mood and vibe. It feels dreary and heavy, even though we have the more dexterous violin work on top of everything, which should lighten it all up, and yet it still feels like a weight. I think that works well. This is why I like not having learned music theory properly. I don't feel bothered to even notice anything off tune. And see, like, for this song, it wasn't anything that I think really stood out to me too much, which is, again, what I feel is impressive. But, yeah, I mean, there's some artists who just really lean into that lack of intonation, and it's hard to look past. I mean, and part of that also is why I prefer uh, near perfection in my music. It's why every time we listen to doom metal, I have to comment on the fact that the whole band doesn't come in together on beats, or at least, you know, some doom metal bands. It's just growing up playing classical music. You really get it hammered into you to be on the beat, to be perfect, to have that perfect tonality. And part of that's because you're working with 50 to 70 other people, and if everyone gets a little bit out of beat or a little bit out of tune, it's amplified. Whereas in a rock band, you got a few people, it's really not going to be that big of a thing. But I mean, it really got hammered in a way where I expect that from all music. I tend to get a little iffy when imperfection is the dominating feature. And I think that's it too. I think you can tastefully do imperfection. And I think this song does that well. Some bands don't do it in a way that's measured, though, and it dominates it. And I don't really want to say that it's not tasteful, even though that's kind of what I implied. But it's just, it leans on it more. So that tends to be where I find I don't personally enjoy what they're doing. A critical ear can be a blessing and a curse. Yeah, and that goes with everything. The more you know about anything, whether it's technology or art or a sport, it's a lot easier to enjoy things when you're ignorant or less informed about it. I mean, just look at like tech enthusiasts, right? Your average person goes to the store, sees an 80-inch TV for like $300, buys it, takes it home, and is blown away by the picture. And then a tech enthusiast would buy that same one and say, oh, but the contrast ratio is only 80,000 to 1 instead of 200,000 to 1. The blacks look washed out. And once you know what you're looking for, you start to see those imperfections. It's harder to enjoy the little things. So, yeah, I think that just goes across the board with anything. But the trade-off is that you can get a lot of enjoyment out of really well done things. So it's, yeah, blessing and curse. I think that's the best way to put it. Would YouTube copyright AI trigger off if you showed the lyrics? No, I don't think so. I don't think I don't think they have any way of checking what text I put on the screen, nor is text copywritten anyways. Copyrighted, that's the word. So no, I don't think so. But the thing with text, I mean with lyrics, is that it's really hard to do it well in a size that everyone can read and to be lined up with what's actually being sung. That would kind of require a little bit of premeditation there for me to know when different stanzas are and stuff like that. So it's been something I've wanted to do for a couple of years and just have never really found a great way to do it, other than hoping that Spotify has the lyrics and has sunk them to the video so that I can just display what Spotify has. But that's not 100% across the board either. And for metal and rock, very rarely are they synced up, so. Reading can distract from listening. Yeah, if I put the lyrics up, I would not pay attention to them. It would be for y'all. Because if I'm reading lyrics, I'm not listening to the music as much. See, and there's the other thing. If the song isn't on Spotify, I would have to figure out another method to do so. And it would probably And again, I would have to know when lyrics change because just putting up, you know, 5, 6 stanzas of music is going to be too small for anyone to read. Aren't they inaccurate a lot of times? Spotify uses lyrics X match or max X lyrics or something like that instead of Genius, which makes no sense to me. But yeah, whatever source they use is not great. And I don't know. Oh, not for, oh yeah, I check out anything. Spotify is really good, especially for my general videos, because I can automate a lot of stuff off in the corner, album art, duration, time, all that stuff gets to be automated in a nice way. But if it's not on Spotify, I can do it too. I just lose out on some information because it can't sync into any sort of API. Oh yeah, YouTube has CC lyrics, and those are nice too. But again, I feel like they're small. Maybe if I found, because I know like on Android, you can have YouTube alternatives, and some of them I can change the size of the closed caption text, but I don't think YouTube, the website, does. Ooh, but I could set up a second video capture. It'd be pixely, but I could blow it up a little bit and then put that somewhere else on the screen. It wouldn't be perfect, but it would be doable. Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is stuff I've been spitballing a lot over the past year, but I think that might do it. But see, then too, I don't use YouTube for everything, and not every music video has lyrics and closed caption. Much of the music's so generic it would not distract at all. So it would give depth where the music doesn't. And see, maybe in some places, but I still think it would be something I put out for y'all. I wouldn't really pay attention too much. There might be times when the music starts to get repetitive and I know what's going on that it would probably be helpful to check out some lyrics, but again, it would just be for that moment of what's going on. Then I wouldn't have checked it out originally for like the first couple of stanzas or something. Yeah, I'm just always looking for ways to add value to the video because I have, underneath the Spotify or YouTube video, it's just white space. There's nothing over there. I've always wanted to put lyrics there because my hand can't even get over there because I pulled my whole video to the side to make room for it. So there's like literally nothing goes in that corner. It's perfect for something like that. Or sponsors, which we almost had. There's a lot of good things. Oh, I should put like my Mastodon link there and Patreon and stuff. I gotta make some graphics then. I don't know why I never thought about that. The streets? I don't even recognize them. Did I say everything I wanted to say about that? I think so. It's a good vibe. The violin's nice. The intonation is interesting. And it's a good heaviness that's captured throughout, even though there's a bit more dexterity to the melody. Yeah, I think that was everything I wanted to touch on. So we're going to move on to Voila with the track Get a Room with Megan Cromwell. Put the R in the wrong place. This one comes at us from Johnny. Hey, Justin, glad to have you. Imagine you have a panel of lever. A metaphor in the context? I'm here for this. Let's see what's going on. Imagine you have a panel of levers that can be set anywhere from 1 to 10. Each lever affects a specific production effect. Now push every lever so far that it breaks and goes past 10 into random double-digit numbers. Okay. I always expect wild stuff from Johnny. I have found some really great electronic artists. Have fun. Yeah. All right. Let's see what Voilà's doing here. Oh, it's a basic song other than the production on it. All right, let's kick it. See what's going on.
eyes, 'cause I don't wanna look to my passenger side when I stop and see in the car next to mine you, and you know who. So you moved on, and I should probably move away, because I can't run the risk of seeing your face with that smile I gave you and you gave away to you know who. It's Casey's party, so I sort of thought it'd be safe, 'cause you hated him when we were dating.
I'm curious how this is going to evolve into production chaos. This is very reserved.
I wish it would. God, can you just get around? I'm so sick of seeing you down. Oh, such an kiss, and I don't exist when I don't. God, can you just get around?
The nerve to show up at the same church where I prayed for you, and you show up with her. You
I think that's the
look
best
happy.
description for
That's
that.
nice.
Just
Hope that
okay.
it works with you. Know who? Wait, no.
That ska. Oh, I love it.
With my head, the fact we had a past life, you easily forget. I hate that you turn and wave high with one hand while the other's in hers. Small towns get smaller, the bigger the breakup, and I'm sick of wearing this waterproof makeup. It totally kills me to see you with her, or at least I wish it would.
God, can you just get around? I'm so sick of seeing you down. Oh, such an kiss, and I don't exist when I do. God, can you just get around? I'm so sick of seeing you down. I'm such an kiss, and I don't exist when I do. God, can you just get around?
God, can you just get around?
What is this?
And if I can't be the love in your life, I'll be the lost in your life instead. And if I can't be the love in your life, I'll be the lost in your life instead.
And if I can't be the love of your life, I'll be the loss of your life instead. And if I can't be the love of your life, I'll be the loss of your life instead. I'm so sick of seeing you too. Oh, touching and kissing like I'm not still in love with you.
Oh my glob. What in the world? Alright, y'all. I know this has been a pass for a lot of you. I love this song. Follow me on this journey. I'm going to try to explain why I'm digging this. Alright, so here's the deal. It jumps between pop country, something that I've heard a million times. I wish I knew what it was. The verse is so familiar. I think, Leon mentioned that. It sounds familiar but different. Unsubscribe. So it starts with like a pop country vibe. I've heard this before. I swear it's probably I can't think of her name. She was an American Idol winner or runner-up or something, and she went, Carrie Underwood. There we go. You love me anyways. Uh, yes, I mean, a lot of mainstream pop uses the same chords, so. But it feels like a Carrie Underwood song that I've even heard before. Like, I don't know, the tone of the instrument and everything. It's just, it's wearing its inspiration on its sleeve. Patreon refund request incoming. Oh, Sinus wants to include it in the Donut Club, giving it the big old 0. We go from pop culture, from pop country though. We explore this very isolating sound. It's just like a guitar or a piano. I forgot what we started with, and the vocals. Um, Everything very, very natural sounded, and then we push it into pop emo. Why? I don't know. The melody shifts just a hair, just enough to give it more of a rock flair, but I do think that the electric guitars add to this a lot as well. With the highly distorted and auto-tuned vocals, though, really locking into these notes, it reminds me of bands like Select Start. And so this juxtaposition is wild. It immediately grabs my attention because I've never heard of anything like this before. We do this one more time, and then the ending cranks these knobs up even higher. It becomes more distorted. The notes get locked in even harder, even earlier. It begins to sound more robotic, and this is all stripped back away for the final words from Megan to wrap the song up. This wild juxtaposition is bewildering, and somehow it works, but here's why it works. So the song is exceptionally melodramatic to a point that I kind of hate the lyrics. It's making something small relatively into the biggest of deals. It's like, we broke up and you got a new partner and I hate seeing you together. And it's lyrically told so melodramatically, like it's the end of this person's life. One of the lines was like, small towns get smaller or something like that when you have a big breakup, and I can't go around wearing the waterproof makeup anymore, implying that they're crying everywhere because they see this other person anywhere they go. And so this is just so melodramatic that it's ridiculous. And the music amplifies this. The music is ridiculous. There is nothing about that chorus that feels natural in any way. It's a massive amplification of all of the emotions. It's heavier, it's grittier, it's noisier, and this just matches the lyrics so well. I don't know if this was intentional, because it feels like it pokes fun at melodramatic breakup songs, or if this is just a feeling, how they felt seeing someone they still have feelings for with someone else, and they just really wanted to amplify it and showcase it musically. Either way, I think it works. She made us feel pain by bleeding our ears. That's not fair. Oh, okay, so it might be kind of sarcastic, so kind of satirical, poking fun at this type of breakup song. I think it works though. The music does what the lyrics are doing. It's kind of campy in that way, and because of that synergy, I like it. I really do. It was intentional production wise. Yeah, 100%. I don't think you could do this unintentionally and release it. They had to know what they were doing. Yep. Whether to mock it or be confidently cheesy. Yeah, it could go either way. But it works for me. This is the type of thematic lining up that without these lyrics, I would probably have not been too keen on it. But because of what it's about, artistically, it just comes together in a beautiful way. And I dig it. I don't think that's going to change anyone's mind on it. Did somebody say I prefer VOILÀ? Yep. For a long time, I actually thought that's what we were listening to today. What if it was accidental? Well, see, here's the thing. A lot of really great ideas were accidental and they just stuck with it. Happy accidents. If that's what happened here, yeah, just keep telling people you did it on purpose. What really gets me is how both of the singers are incredible without production. They are, and I think the production just adds to that. It's a way of disguising everything about what they're doing and creating something false and artificial on top of it, which again just lines up with a lot of these feelings here of trying to put on a mask that everything's okay. So, I mean, every time I analyze it, there's another layer that I think works really well. What if it was, who cares? Yeah, exactly. it, it is ridiculously hilarious, though, and I'm glad they did this. Yeah, I can agree with that too, Inky. There's a lot of stuff that I haven't really been keen on, but it does what it does well. So, who am I to say it's bad? Just be yourself as strongly as you can. All right. Next up, we got some Love is Noise. We seem to be hating on love today. This one comes from Chris with no context. I don't think anything we have for the rest of the day has context on it. This one has a music video, though. Let's dive into it. See what's going on with To Live in a Different Way. As a mockery, you appreciate it? That's fair. Interesting. I assume we'll come back to that intro for the chorus. Oh, we have a shaker in the back. I like that. Oh, nice bass line too. Very 90s. When did this come out? Digging the lightness of all of this, from his vocals to the drumming to the guitars. It's really interesting to see the massive contrast with this. That's what it is. It's very shoegazy outside of moments like this. Has that same dreamlike levity to it. Even this has levity in the harmony. The chords are very uplifting, but the sound drags you down. Deftones is a good analogy, yeah. Good comparison. Yeah. Yeah, I think the chords are what keeps it feeling uplifting. Yeah, there's the Deftones. The levity is completely gone here. Good catch on the vocals. Lots of long held out notes, yeah. Even that right there. The whole song. Oh, that's a nice message. The whole song, I thought the guitars were just holding out this tone like a drone on each chord, but there's actually a dun digga digga dun digga digga dun digga digga. There's a lot of movement to the guitar that I just never heard. Those attacks get swallowed up by everything else, and it wasn't until the end when it was pretty much just the guitar and the bass and some lighter drumming that I actually heard that rhythm. Because up to that point, I really thought it was the drums and the bass which was leading everything. And the bass has a lot of moving ideas in here, which I love. A little bit swallowed up in the mix, but I think generally is fine. I could hear it when I wanted to. It just didn't dominate anything. And so there's this duality to the entire thing that I think is what people are hearing the Dream Theater, no, the Deftones element from. It is the heavy weightiness of tone with light uplifting, cloudy or dreamlike chords. It's the multiple attacks to give a lot of forward momentum, but generally feeling it as one sound. Even the drums, as driving as they are, keeping that rigid time, they're still kind of empty. It isn't until that drum riff or the drum fill at the end of the song that the drummer actually fills space with anything. It is a song that constantly feels like it is being pulled apart into two extremes. And then of course all that is paired with the general floaty, weightless sound that's in almost every aspect, plus the contrast between the low energy verses and the high energy choruses. Only Mary in comparison. Yeah. It's not a happy song, but it is uplifting in parts for sure. And I like that sound. Again, I gotta ask when this came out though. 3 weeks ago. No way. This album comes out on February 14th. Love is Noise has an album coming out on Valentine's Day. Of course they do. Melancholic and hopeful. I think that's good. Vex Red. See, I do feel like generally this has an older sound to it. I don't even think the production's very modern. It feels older in every right. I will agree though, the harsh vocals came out of nowhere. I don't think that they were bad, as I saw somebody make comments about, but I don't necessarily think they added anything to the track. It did create a very heavy energy in that section, which was high contrast to the entire rest of the song. Maybe that was the point of it. Porter Robinson's Nurture. Genres are completely different, but the emotions feel similar. Interesting. And yeah, I think Catatonia is it's a good analogy there. I don't have a lot of Catatonia experience, but they are very atmospheric and frequently dreary. So I don't necessarily think this was dreary. It was definitely heavy though. But again, I still feel like a lot of the chord progression was optimistic or hopeful. Alright, I know we had a couple of people looking forward to this. We got some Sheena Ringo coming up. I was a little worried about going over time, but given how short most of these songs are, I think we're going to make it. Maybe go over by a little bit. Probably get out of here about 15 after the hour. No context. This one was requested by Maxime, though. I think they kept the entire heavy section, but took off the screams. It'd be more fitting. Okay. Or drown the screams in reverb. Ooh, that would have been interesting. Yeah, make them a texture, part of the atmosphere. That would have been interesting. part of me actually wonders, given how close that section did feel to Deftones, if that's it. They have their influences and they really wanted to lean into them. Kind of forcing the song to do something different because of what they wanted to achieve out of it, more so than what would work best for the song. But again, I don't know the lyrics either, and that might make things work better or worse. Alright, this song is called honnou, or translated to instinct, possibly. Let's dive into this, see what's going on with Sheena Ringo. Okay, that's a very eerie, unsettling. Interesting sound to pair with a jazzy vibe. Ah, that bass drum combo there, that was nice. Random electro drums. That bass is massive. Oh, that's an interesting detail. I really like the drum production. It's very bright. You don't hear that too much. I don't even think it's a different tuning on the drum kit. I think it's just EQ'd that way. Oh, there's one of those rolled R's. There's a lot of electricity to her vocal delivery that I don't think I've heard before. Part of it I do think is production. Yeah. First one going on the playlist. Nice. we've had a very eclectic set of songs. I'd be very surprised if people put too many from today on a playlist. It is edgy though. That's what I was talking about. Like the vocal energy is very high, and part of that is a lot of compression on the vocals, but she also has a little bit of extra grit in her highest notes that I don't think I've heard before. Everything that I've checked out from Sheena Ringo, which admittedly isn't a lot, maybe 3 or 4 tracks total, she's been more of a traditional vocalist, really going for that strong sense of clarity in her vocal while also presenting more of a pop or rock forward projection, kind of being somewhere between traditional singing and modern. But never really going into this edgy direction. It's very interesting to hear it. And like I said, it is amplified by an extra layer of compression on it. And it doesn't sound out of place, which I think is most bizarre because this has rock elements to it, but much like a lot of what I've heard from her, although I think I've primarily only listened to her in Tokyo Incidents, very jazzy. And so, again, to kind of pair a lot of the jazzy elements in here, the piano and drum and bass lead most of this song. The electric guitar shows up in places, and it does add that edgier spice, the grit to it. But it's not really a dominant part of the song, and for her vocals to have that extra electricity, that extra texture to it, it really shouldn't fit with the jazz focus, but it does. You've never heard them before? Yeah, Tokyo Jihen is another name that they've gone by. Tokyo Incidents, also Incidents Tokyo. They've had a few name changes. More funky than jazz. I can see that, especially in the rhythmic element. But between the, well, okay, so I guess it depends on what angle you're coming at it from. I feel like this is a rockier kind of jazz, but there is some funk in it. But also, there's funk that sounds like this. So, I mean, as usual, genres get a little blurry as they evolve through different sounds and incorporate other parts to it. This is definitely more funky than traditional jazz. I think we can agree with that. Oh, Incidents is the translation of Jihen. Alright, cool. So I find that whole combination, though, interesting. The light and bouncy general sound of the band with the heavy, angsty vocals. But I think what I find most entertaining about this is the vocal melody and its speed and dexterity. Da, 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 da. There's a lot of quick movement to it. The rest of the band doesn't really have this. The keys give us a little bit of rhythmic syncopation, but the bass is rather straightforward walking, mostly quarter notes, a little bit of syncopation with some eighth notes thrown in, and the drums have a nice swung feel to them to create some energy and momentum, but nothing that really goes with the energy of or it's on the same level of the energy of the vocals. And so we do have this very cool element where the band creates this very solid foundation for this more dexterous vocal work. Absolutely great having it all work together and layered up the way that it does. And something else I love too is there at the end bringing a bit of a jazz element there, some scatting, some vocal soloing on top of the music. Nice little way to wrap the track up there and showcase Sheena, allowing her to kind of flex a little bit. If in doubt, call it art something. Yeah, this is art jazz rock. Just throw a bunch of words together. Not wrong, but not right. I enjoyed it though. I don't think there's anything I've listened to from them that I haven't enjoyed. I don't think everything has been a complete hit with me, but I've enjoyed it all. And I think that's because it's somewhere between rock, jazz, and pop, which really, I mean, that's my home when I think about it. Metal's something I grew into from my love of rock, but I started out in the realm of rock. And so bringing all three of those things together, especially at the level that she typically does, I'm going to enjoy that, I think. All right, the penultimate song today, Injury Reserve, Footwork in a Forest Fire. What a ridiculous title. I love it though. This one comes from Ames with no context. Let's dive into... Oh, we do have context on the last song today. I remember what that's about. Anyways, let's check out what they're bringing to the table. Footwork in a forest fire. Ooh. For some reason, I thought Injury Reserve was like indie rock. I didn't know it was hip hop. It's interesting because there is a lot of vocals in it. Okay, there we go. I was gonna say, but they're not present. They're not the main draw like hip hop typically has. Dance like you're selling nails. Oh, interrupting that scream to bring it back 2 beats later.
Let's see your footwork, let's see how your feet work, let's see how you roll, let's stack your work, let's see how you go work, we can jump down slow, let's see that knee jerk, let's see how you do work, you do without toes. Take it how it roll, I say like everything must go, when I grab your candy on full, when I grab your fist in the fistbowl, when I grab your first.
You know, it's interesting, and I'm kind of digging this for the same reasons I liked, what was that hip hop group, Bone Thugs and Harmony, from last week. Yeah, there's a lot of really interesting directions that hip-hop's been going in recently. The clowncore of hip-hop. I could see the comparison there. Death Grips is probably what you're wanting to check out, though, if you want to hear clowncore of hip-hop. There are some Death Grips tracks that are absolutely bonkers. In fact, Steroids. Is it Steroid or Steroids? Steroids. Yep, that song. Death Grips just knocked it out of the park with that one. It's not just the music slowing down, they slowed down the vocals too. That's clever. Alright, you know, I think... Don't usually agree with the dude, but I like Anthony Fantano's face for this album. That's kind of how I felt during this song too. Oh man. I didn't dislike it. In fact, there's a lot of things I think it does well that fixes many of the issues I have when listening to hip hop in general, but it is a little too avant-garde for my tastes. With that said, though, I enjoy the creativity of it, and like I said, I enjoy it for some of the reasons I like that Bone Thugs and Harmony track we checked out last week. There's multiple vocalists, or at least it sounds like multiple vocalists, who are working around and supporting other people. during their own verses. You just don't hear that too often in hip hop. Usually it's, here's your turn, you do your thing. Now it's my turn, I'll do my thing. And allowing multiple vocalists to do things simultaneously in hip hop is just something I'd like to see more of. Bring harmony back to hip hop, bring counterpoint to hip hop. I understand having two people throw a lot of words at you at the same time. It's probably going to get busy. The production's going to get tough, I think, and it's going to be hard to listen to, but I'd like to see more exploration in the realm of hip hop. I think we've explored beats pretty well. People are really good at building beats. I'd like to see something done on the vocal side, and this one really explores that. Ozala, welcome to the stream. I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing today? But aside from all the vocals doing all sorts of wild stuff, even right at the beginning, I liked how there were like 3 different vocals that were part of the atmosphere, not saying anything, but making noises and pitches and working that into what the drums were doing and the synths and all that. That was a really cool way to start the song off. But once we get past all of the vocal work and we get into the music, it's a bit too experimental for me to get. It ventures off in really bizarre directions. I think the beat even gets difficult to follow at times. The atmosphere is constantly oppressive in a very dark, hazy way. I think it really does match that orange sky that they have in the album art. It feels a bit eerie and dark. And I think I'm going to agree with Watchmen State. It's really great art. I like their craft. I like their experimentation. It's not something I want to listen to, though. Just finished your video on the Prius album. What a great discovery. Also very interesting and thoughtful analysis. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And I'm glad that you got to discover a new band. I know Prius is a bit smaller. I think they only have like 13,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. So I'm always glad to give a smaller band who's doing a phenomenal job a bit of a boost. I saw quite a bit of comments from that review of people discovering the band for the first time and enjoying it, throwing it into their Spotify libraries or YouTube playlists and whatever. So I'm always happy to do that. Just discovered so many bands with your videos. See, I'm glad. I'm happy about that. It's one of my favorite things about it. You don't see too many YouTube channels exploring the fringes of music, and I'm trying to bring as much new music to people's ears as possible. And I couldn't do that by myself. I don't know that much music, especially not in the world of rock and metal, and honestly a lot of the pop world kind of goes by me too, and there's a lot of genres I just don't listen to. So huge shout out to the community and their vast expansive knowledge of music. Music history too. Y'all have educated me a lot about how some of this has come to be. In fact, we just discussed the evolution of thrash earlier in this stream. But I mean, y'all know about so many bands and so much cool music that I would never have heard of. So huge shout out to everyone. We're going to discover some things once I get on Patreon. I look forward to it. I'm also a little scared. Seems like an ominous warning there, especially with the smiley face. But I look forward to it. We get some cool stuff around here. All right. Anything else you want to say about this? I don't think so. It's interesting. It really is. Not my cup of tea, but I like what they're doing. And like I said, I'd like to see more experimentation in the realm of hip-hop anyways, so I'm never going to say anything bad about it. The best by far. Jeez. Oh, man. I appreciate it, though. I do. We got some Gregory brothers here. This one actually took me a little bit to find who the artist was, because it's not really in the title here, which just says It's Corn, Songify This, which I don't know what all this is about. Hope it's not too highbrow. Yeah, this one comes from Mark here. The things you do for your kids, it won't need much analysis. All right. Let's dive into this, see what's going on with It's Corn.
For me, I really like corn.
What do you like about corn?
It's corn. A big corn knobs.
Oh, this is one of those videos.
A more beautiful thing. It's corn. I can tell you all about it. I mean, look at this thing. When I tried it, I don't anything change. But the best thing about corn is the grease. The cornbread can restore your energy.
I like that.
Really appreciate that whole goal when you love something. If you anyone loves corn, if you come to me, I can tell you all about it. If I was surrounded by corn, I would eat all of it. Go big and strong. Look at this, take a lump with the knob. Spread butter on. Boil it and toast it with the grease. That all spreads out the good taste. But this soft corn is disgusting. Amazing taste. It's corn. A big corn with knobs. It has the juice. I can imagine a more beautiful thing.
It's actually really catchy.
I can tell you all about it. I mean, look at this thing. When I tried it, I don't anything change. I hope you have a fantastic day.
A fantastic day.
Alright, it's just a corn about corn. Okay? It's corn. When it's like negative in the world.
What is this kid, like 7? I'm glad that he knows what a pun is.
Corn dance.
Corn. Bibbidi bibbidi dibbidi bop. Corn dance.
Anything else you want to say about corn before we go?
Yeah.
What?
It's corn. A big corn with knobs. It has the juice.
I know that a typical song has to bring the chorus back, and I do like that segue back into it.
I mean, look at this thing.
And maybe I'm not the target audience, but
It's corn.
sort of worn out its welcome a little bit. It's still cute though, I'm digging it.
It's corn. I can tell you all about it. I mean, look at this thing. When I tried it, I don't anything.
Oh, this is definitely going to be in my head.
It's corn.
Smoke yo ho.
Life is better as a musical. You know what? I like that. Yeah, so I don't know that I have a lot to add to it. Like you said, not a lot of critical stuff to go on there. But you know, it does kind of amaze me. Not this song in particular, but just the entire idea of taking something non-musical like an interview and chopping up and figuring out what pieces and what rhythms are going to work where, and where you can sneak in a little bit of an extension of a syllable just to make it a little bit more rhythmic. Because a lot of that kind of felt natural, aside from the pitch correction, which everyone's going to have their own opinion about. But the rhythmic elements feel natural. There were only like 3 parts where I was like, oh, that definitely got stretched a little bit. You can hear it. Everything else kind of works, and they do such a great job of disguising the transformative element to it. Yep. That's when when it started, I was like, oh, it's one of those. Yeah. Yep, taking a meme interview and turning it into a song. I don't think I ever really got into this kind of stuff. There was a few that you just couldn't avoid. The Hide Your Kids song. Geez, I haven't thought about that in forever. Now that's going to be stuck in my head too. There's another one too. I don't remember the Charlie Sheen one. I kind of feel like I don't want to, but there's a part of me that's like, you should listen just in case. Might be a nostalgia trip. I think a lot of these that I remember though were from Gregory Brothers. They did a lot of stuff. But I do find the entire process pretty impressive from that perspective. When you listen to the music, though, we have a simple 4-chord progression going on, and on top of that, as you saw, the guy just one note at a time, usually the root, and just hitting the root alongside it, and then crafting a catchy little melody to be pitch corrected against on the interview. It's very straightforward, but it's fun. It's lighthearted. I don't really want to dig too much into it because it's just going to ruin what it is, which is a lighthearted, fun, catchy track. They did a great job at building something like that. They still have millions of subscribers, but hardly get any views anymore. I don't know if that's too weird. I know a lot of people just never unsubscribe from things, which that feels weird to me. I'm a huge fan of digital decluttering. But, I mean, most people just aren't, I guess. And so, maybe that pulls into it. It's cool. I would love to hear Korn cover this. And not like a voice match. Like 10-second songs, but like actually Korn covering it. I think their gimmick only took them so far. Oh, that's another name from early YouTube I completely forgot about. Epic Mealtime. You know what's crazy though is Epic Rap Battles is still around and they're still going strong. And that's another concept that I kind of figured would have been of its time and didn't age too well. But that's still working for them. Used to watch their songified news over and over when I was a kid. Auto-tune the news as it was called back then. Gee, so we started off this stream being nostalgic and feeling old. And we've wrapped up the stream being nostalgic and feeling old. You know, I really thought I was going to name this something along the lines of Flash or White to accommodate Ghost Brian starting the stream off, but might end up calling it the Nostalgia Stream. Something along those lines. With that said, thanks everyone for coming out on this Sunday, hanging out with me, checking out some music, engaging in some cool conversation. Next week, we have a stream. Yeah, we'll do a stream next week. I'm not sure about the first. I'm going to play that by ear. I'll figure that out next week, though. Brian can deal with that later. But, yeah, as for right now, if you want to put it into your schedule, 11 a.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. UTC. Next Sunday, we'll do another stream. We'll check out, I think we only have 5 songs set up for next week. Maybe I'll take live suggestions. I don't know. Maybe we'll only do half of a stream. That probably won't be what we do, but I like to keep you all on your toes. Oh, thanks, Uzala, for that. Watchman State, I'm waiting to see what you got. You've been amping me up here. I'm a little worried. So some people have some really bizarre suggestions. You might be one of those, but I'm also looking forward to it. Always have a good time. All right. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your day. Get excited for this week's theme. We're going to be checking out some stoner rock, starting off with some Caius tomorrow, which I found out has the lead singer of Queens of the Stone Age before Queens of the Stone Age was a thing. So that's a pretty cool track to check out tomorrow. The less music, the more tangent space. Yeah, we got some Caius coming out tomorrow. The early access will be available now. I'm going to get that rolling for patrons. Everyone else, usual time tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. UTC. All right, I'll catch y'all later, and y'all take care. I'm lost. Why am I? Oh, last week I said I was going to make a button to simplify this, and I still haven't. So, another awkward outro. Check y'all later.